Hey everyone! A new interstellar visitor has appeared in our solar system, the Object 3I/Atlas. Officially, it's a comet. But what if that icy camouflage hides something far more complex? What if this is not just a guest, but a scout? This is the story of the team who tracked its maneuver and finally deciphered its coded message. Let's dive in. The tension in the underground command center, concealed beneath the observatory atop Mauna Kea, was physically palpable, like a forced vacuum. Dr. Elia Casado, the lead researcher for the Observer 3I project, had not left the secure bunker for 5 consecutive days. She held utter disregard for the official press releases announcing the ordinary interstellar comet 3I/Atlas. Elia knew that a truth capable of shattering the foundations of science and our understanding of our place in the universe was hidden behind that facade. It all began with the orbital eccentricity and the anomalous speed. When 3I/Atlas was first detected, its hyperbolic orbit, with an eccentricity of about 6.15, was record-breaking and strongly suggested its interstellar origin. But then came the asymmetrical, non-gravitational velocity boost. While a typical comet is pushed by vaporizing ice, 3I/Atlas's acceleration was too stable, too perfectly directed, and too prolonged. It looked exactly like the output of a precisely calibrated engine, operating with unnatural efficiency. Alan, re-verify the data within the inertial system. I require the absolute microscopic precision of the non-gravitational force vector. Exclude every single margin of error, Elia commanded, her voice strained from perpetual exhaustion. Engineer Alan Woods, slumped over the control panel, sighed heavily. Doctor, I have filtered and excluded them dozens of times. For such constant, even acceleration, a natural object is impossible. The object is executing a maneuver. The purpose, it deliberately slowed down to prolong its presence in the solar system. Elia fully concurred. This confirmed her worst suspicions regarding the object's inbound vector. 3I/Atlas did not arrive randomly. Sarah Lynn, the astrophysicist, confirmed the odds. The probability of a random interstellar object entering the ecliptic plane with such precision is less than 0.2%. The object came from the Sagittarius constellation, but its path was deliberately chosen for a specific purpose. All evidence pointed directly to an active reconnaissance mission. Elia then took the career-risking step of obtaining unauthorized deep access to the raw data files from the Hubble Space Telescope. The official, heavily blurred images concealed the reality. An image finally resolved on the screen, causing the team to freeze. It was not a comet. It was a monolithic cylinder, approximately 11 kilometers in length. Along its dark, monochromatic hull, clear, regular, geometric patterns were distinctly visible, resembling structural seams or massive technological panels. Artificial, beyond any reasonable doubt. And this cannot be explained by any comet, Elia stated, pointing to a singular thermal anomaly, a small, perfectly regular, rectangular aperture from which a faint, steady stream of energy emanated. It was active. The object used camouflage to pass unnoticed. At that critical moment, a signal was reported by Sarah. She had been working through telemetry data collected at the time of 3I/Atlas's maximum close approach to Earth. Dr. Casado, I detected a clear anomaly, a non-gravitational, non-electromagnetic event, a very short, focused gravitational pulse lasting 0.3 seconds. Following the pulse's sharp peak was an orderly sequence of faint, rhythmic gravitational fluctuations. It is like Morse code, Elia whispered, her eyes alight with feverish realization. It's not mere fluctuation, it's a signal. Sarah entered the coordinates. The pulse was sent in the direction of Barnard's star, utilizing the nearest gravitational corridor. It was filing a detailed report on our system. It was precisely then that 3I/Atlas passed perihelion and began its dramatic turn away. The team knew they only had this one whisper in the hyperbola to decipher. But Alan, continuously monitoring the non-gravitational acceleration, looked up once more, his face etched in pure terror. "Dr. Casado, I have catastrophically bad news. The non-gravitational acceleration has not ceased. It has not merely intensified. It has radically changed its vector in defiance of all established orbital mechanics." "How has it changed?" Aaliyah demanded sharply. "After the turn, its speed began to grow exponentially. Its vector clearly indicates that it is not simply leaving the solar system via the fastest route. It is deliberately heading towards the Kuiper belt. At that speed and angle, it looks like it's going to capture or retrieve something, Doctor. It is an intentional intercept course." A profound silence filled the bunker. The scout was not merely withdrawing. It was initiating a final, unscheduled, and highly targeted maneuver. And this maneuver was directed straight towards the reservoir of the solar system's ancient, untouched bodies. A comet does not change course, but a ship certainly can. Elia Casado felt the sharp, cold burn of adrenaline replace the heavy fatigue that had settled in her bones after days without proper rest. The entire team watched, mesmerized, as the trajectory of 3I/Atlas now, after passing perihelion, was not just receding but accelerating with an unbelievable, frankly unnatural force that defied all known celestial mechanics. The graph of its non-gravitational acceleration looked like a frightening, continuous exponential surge, a signature of intentional propulsion. The vector was pointed directly towards the boundaries of the solar system, the vast, poorly explored expanse of the Kuiper belt. Acceleration has reached an astonishing 3.5 centimeters per second squared, and it shows no sign of tapering off. That's dozens of times greater than any known non-gravitational effect from any comet we have ever observed. Alan Woods's voice was filled with a rising tide of panic and awe. He slammed his hand lightly on the console. "It is transitioning to cruising speed, Dr. Casado. This is unequivocally an engine, and it's heading for an object in the region of 55 astronomical units, a zone of space where detailed observation has been minimal since the Voyager flybys decades ago." Aaliyah tore her gaze away from the trajectory data and fixed it on Sarah Lynn, who, completely focused and pale with concentration, was working feverishly on deciphering the mysterious gravitational pulse they had captured. The pulse, recorded precisely at the moment of 3I/Atlas's closest approach to Earth, was clearly not random noise. It was a rhythmic code, transmitted subtly through the localized distortion of spacetime itself. "I have managed to logically segment the sequence into coherent data blocks, Doctor," Sarah said quietly, her voice shaky but determined. "It's not a standard linguistic or mathematical cipher as we expected. It's a semantic code, built on the physical relationships and fundamental constants of the universe. The first block is a complex ratio of specific wavelengths, indicating the atmospheric absorption and emission profiles of our planet, clearly flagging a high predominance of nitrogen and oxygen. The second block, this is more precise. It gives the exact geometrical proportion of Earth's orbit." The team held its collective breath, their minds racing, as the third and most crucial data block began to resolve itself on Sarah's secondary screen. It started with a fundamental symbol representing the molecular structure of liquid water, and then flowed into a complex, yet disturbingly recognizable schematic. "It's DNA, the double helix structure," Alan exclaimed, his eyes wide in disbelief. It transmitted confirmation of the presence of carbon and water-based life. Everything that makes up our biosphere, our existence, was meticulously registered and successfully transmitted back to its point of origin. But the final sequence of the message was what truly paralyzed them with a chilling realization. Following the life symbol was a short, sharp, powerful burst of gravitational clicks, which Sarah's specialized software interpreted as a clear executive command or a tactical protocol. The semantic meaning was horrifically simple and direct: camouflage active, reconnaissance mission complete, proceed to stage N2. Stage N2. What does N2 imply? Preparation for an immediate invasion, or merely an extraction and return home, having gathered the intel? Alan whispered, his professional desire for rational analysis fighting against mounting dread. It means they have a comprehensive, multi-step plan. Aaliyah cut him off with cold, measured certainty. Their objective was clearly not limited to a simple, passive flyby, and its next target, its next stage, is now undeniably fixed on a specific location within the Kuiper Belt. Aaliyah immediately brought up the Deep Space Archives on the main holographic projector. She precisely overlaid the currently accelerating trajectory of 3I/Atlas onto the detailed star map of the outer solar system, specifically focusing on the targeted region between 55 and 60O. And there, buried deep within the decades-old raw data, was the anomalous coordinate she had half forgotten. In that exact area where the ship was headed lay the source location of an unexplained, highly artificial radio signal, a fleeting, high-frequency echo recorded back in the late 1990s, universally dismissed at the time as a transient equipment error or cosmological noise. That signal was real, a single, isolated echo, but it was there, Aaliyah explained, tapping the coordinate with grim finality. This is not just a random piece of ice it's heading for, it's a beacon, and 3I/Atlas is flying at military velocity to answer that beacon. At this critical, high-stakes moment, the remote instruments tracking the rapidly departing object began to scream a series of escalating alert signals. "Doctor, the nucleus of 3I/Atlas, it's undergoing a dramatic shape change," Sarah shrieked, her hands flying over the diagnostics. The decloaking sequence has begun. The camouflage, reliant on sublimating ices and outgassing, is failing catastrophically due to the immense G-forces and the sheer distance from the sun's energy. The very last, maximally amplified spectral image the specialized telescopes could possibly capture before the object vanished completely into the deep blackness was horrific and transformative. The smooth cylinder was gone. In the vacuum and at breakneck speed, the engineered outer icy shell had completely sloughed away, exposing the object's brutal, true structure. The vessel was revealed to be, emphatically, not monolithic. It consisted of numerous articulated, multifaceted metallic segments, connected by thick, rusty-looking metallic veins or cables, resembling the ancient, intricate parts of some colossal, long-dormant mechanism. It looked like a gigantic, predatory cosmic squid or a complex, archaic artifact. And the most terrifying sight of all, from its central segment, which had been previously obscured as the comet's coma, a pulsating shaft of brilliant blue energy erupted. The beam was not random. It was aimed with absolute precision, directly at the faint coordinate of the old radio signal. It is not merely a reconnaissance probe. It is a deployment carrier, Aaliyah realized, her voice barely a whisper. It is switching instantly from reconnaissance mode to activation or retrieval mode. The beacon was placed there, and now 3I/Atlas is flying to activate or collect whatever was left behind. Stage N2 is, quite possibly, the awakening. She looked at her two stunned engineers. We must immediately initiate the emergency publication protocol. We are transmitting every single piece of data we have. The gravitational code, the true structural images, the maneuver calculations. Do not use official academic channels. Use the independent network of Avi Loeb and his Galileo project. Governments and established science will inevitably call this a hoax, a fake. But the world needs to know now, before N2 is complete. Alan, shaking off his shock, swiftly began the massive data transmission. Elia took one last sweep of the dark, cluttered bunker. They were utterly alone in this self-imposed darkness, but in that darkness, they had not merely tracked a comet. They had recorded the precise moment an alien emissary shed its celestial mask and began its true, hidden mission. Out there, on the cold fringes of the solar system, the blue light of the scout ship was connecting with the long-sleeping artifact. The history of the quiet, safe cosmos had just violently come to an end.